Hello, my name is Yoon So Jung. I'm a co-leader of Stay on Dime. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was quite short, but also very compact. We were able to learn the whole life cycle of new drug development and how we can benefit from the use of AI. One question I have is, as a leader of this research institute, the first topic you threw was, for a scientist, you have to focus on technologies. And as a person who runs an enterprise, on the other hand, I think instead of just staying as a technology or science itself, new drug development is connected to a new industry, and you have to go into the industry so that those technologies can be felt and benefit patients as well. So, in that sense, and also if you look at the points that you made, from technological perspective, there are some lagging points in the whole life cycle. And if you look at the global environment that we belong to right now, represent or in Silicon Medicine, all these companies are even considering short term. They went to clinical one and for clinical two trial phase, and they're showing the potential. And based on this technological advancement, even though you might think that these are initial technologies, you these like pharmaceutical companies are recognizing the value of the technologies, and they're trying to achieve meaningful results. So, in that sense, from your perspective, Professor, in Korea's biopharma industry, when I know that we're not at the center of global pharma scenes, but do you believe that global platform new drug development is something where we can be the leader in the global scenes? And do you think it'll be an environment where many different stakeholders like companies, hospitals, universities, and enterprises, what should we do so that it's not, doesn't just stay in the academia but come out and be commercialized and penetrate into the market? That is my question. Well, that's a good question. That's something I am also thinking about a lot. I can lay out two different perspectives. Number one, when I was working at DuPont, there was a JV, and then DuPont said, I'm just going to buy out all the Merck and then do everything on my own, but they sold it right after. So, what was happening back then? I think, looking back, so because you have a lot of experiences, you might understand right away, but maybe I have to be very careful in choosing language. Let's say you are doing really well and then you try to change something, there is going to be a huge resistance. You know, think about global pharmaceutical industry. It's going well. It's generating profits. So, U.S. Pharmaceutical employees have do not have much computer science skills because they're already making great money. So it's very difficult for them to come into the area of computer science and artificial intelligence. And that is why, because of this resistance towards change, because we have never actually built new drugs from scratch, it'll be an opportunity. Let's say we are a company that have already developed new drug, and then we're selling this drug to all over the world, and you might not want to do it. They might think, oh, why do we need AI? We don't even need that. But we're not in that position, so we can take this advantage. And number two, in Korea, chemistry has been very important in Korea. It was one time even more popular than medicine, the field of medicine. And AI society is developing as well. So I was leading the society from 2008 to 2010. The society itself was quite not advanced, but now AI is developing very rapidly. So we have a great ground and foundation for this approach. So the problem is, how are we going to generate tangible results? How can we replace this with human how can we replace human resources with this? And our institute is a public institution, even though it was founded by the Green Cross. We are focusing on a public good and public health, and there are many elements that we always look at. And as a biologists, we have been focusing on nurturing talent in the US and in Korea. And I think AI is somewhere where you need to make a specialist as well. We're now negotiating with Seoul National University. I don't know if I can disclose this information or not, but I think it's quite tangible and feasible. So Mogon Institute is going to pay 50%. As Use AI Institute is going to pay 50%. We're going to create a two-term program starting from this fall, but they have all the attendees, participants have to have a PhD or a PhD student. The reason why we have this criteria on is that if you just know everything to a certain level, then it's not useful. Even if it's just a small category, you have to have in-depth knowledge, whether it's biology, medicine, computer science, or whatever field it is. If you have a PhD at one field, we are going to invite 5 different professors at SNU and provide relevant trainings. And by doing so, I think new drug development will be going successful. And if this goes smoothly, when we will decide whether we will do it again next year or not. What's most important is talent nurturing, because we have this environment for success. Thank you very much for your remarks. And when it comes to nurturing talent, I think having a flexible approach is important. And from that perspective, what would you think is the most recognizable achievement? You said AlphaFold plus 2. Compared to other areas, what's the reason why AI is generating better results? I think if you look at literature and studies, I think AI technology is now actively collaborating with many private companies and enterprises, and this could be one of the main reasons. And high-tech companies are generating and writing studies and research papers. And the reason why this is possible is because they have recruited PhD students, and they recruit them, they train them, they make results. They are building this foundation for great technological advancement and decision making and so on. So as a result, whether it is a school or a government or public agency, I think private companies are great leaders for the move, I believe. So I want to understand how you can translate this result into commerce or like a private industry. Well, I do not have much time, so to be simple, let's say there is a biologist who learn about AI. They will listen to and learn about pharmacy and other areas as well. Do you think they're going to become a specialist? No, of course not. However, that person has in-depth knowledge about biology itself. So let's say that person works at the Green Cross or Jonggundang or Samsung Biologics. It doesn't matter. Let's say this person works at one of the companies. They have knowledge and they kind of understand AI too. So let's say that company is going to work for other researchers and scholars. You can communicate. So I think the most important point here for talent nurturing is a specialist who can communicate, who are equipped with communication capabilities, so that they can co-work and join in the research process itself. Well, that sounds great, but it's also difficult, I believe. As you shared, major universities or research institutes, they're making talent, and they work with enterprises and private companies. And this collaboration has to happen for them to achieve ideal performance. Well, I think I also talked about this issue at the Biopharma Association as well. But I think what we are lacking is the two-way communication. Are we ready? Is our Korean bio industry ready to accept these types of talent? The industry needs to change, and also the academia needs to change. No matter how good of a talent you hire, if the industry itself doesn't change and it's not open towards the use of AI, then nothing's going to change. That is why I have a plan to talk to Korean pharmaceutical companies. Well, I cannot agree more with what you have just shared. Um, I think pharmaceutical companies have their own ideas and strategies, and they are not willing to change towards a new approach. And if new talent is sourced into the Korean pharmaceutical companies, then they'll create a different culture, a different environment. And I think high tech technologies will be fused into pharmacy as well. Well, we say, "Oh, be open-minded," but we can't just be words. You have to invest. You have to reorganize and restructure your organization. You have to hire a head who can totally revamp the existing structure. And if the company does not do that, then that means they're not ready. Well, I think you are very honest and brave to share this. Thank you very much.